really nice. I, you know, uh, perspective is not my strong point, and I was just so far off, I couldn't get the more I worked on it, the worse it got. So
Yeah.
I thought,
Okay.
well, chalk this one experience. Yeah.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. It's experience, right? Yeah, you learned something that you didn't want to paint that again. I don't know how many times I do that too. I mean, I will, if I have been a bad experience on a painting, a certain thing of a painting, I can't paint that kind of scene again. I just go, whenever I see it, I just pass over. I go, I don't want to deal with that because I know
Well,
exactly
yours
what's
turned
going
out
to
really
happen.
nice though, but from what I see here, you're just really nice. It looks really good. I wish I would have kept up, maybe kept trying, but you know how it gets when you're
Oh,
turned off to it and then keep working on it and it just keeps getting worse. I'm like, no, I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah. No, I agree. I don't. It's no big deal at all. I understand that. Uh, I think what Sarah did a pretty decent one. Sarah, you
Yeah.
had a good version of this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, you had a really nice version. There was only a few of you guys. I think just you two painted it. Everybody else who was in the class, you know, they were, oh, I can't paint today. Oh, I got a bad bum shoulder. Uh, and so,
Wait,
so a
I think
lot
my
of
shoulder's going bum. While we're talking, I think it's going bum.
yeah. So we had a lot of people kind of back out of this one, that one anyway. That one, this one probably would have been a better palette knife painting than what we're doing today. In fact,
Really?
now I'm looking at it and going, because I did put a lot of palette knife work at the end in the back here, just to get the paint to get some thickness to it for it's a little more brighter. I still might bring up this area here a little bit brighter but what couple of decent things I liked. I did like this little area of the water. I'm still working on these rocks. I think I'm gonna wait till they dry and then glaze them back a little bit. I think they just a little spotty. And little things here. Yeah, and another thing, this color here, I'm trying to live with it for a while. The awning light here, and I think it might have to go just a touch warmer. So let it dry, easy glaze, fix these things up with just a simple little glaze of warmth, and then I'll be done. That's what I'm going for.
Could you show us glazing sometime?
Sure. Glazing's really simple. I just use Gelkid and more Gelkid than paint. And it goes.
What's Gelkid? Is that like a thinner? Is that like liquid?
It's like liquid. It's just liquid basically. This
Okay.
is Gelkid is Gamblin's version of liquid. And if you do it thin enough, just more Gelkid than you do just a hair of color, basically, and then a lot of oil, basically, and putting it over. When you put it over a dry painting like this, the great thing is if you don't like it, you can, if you have, take a paper towel and wipe it off before it dries. I like
so
using
you do Gelkin. You do Gelkin oil in paint. I mean, you put oil in that too.
You can. That will slow down the drying of the Gelkid, but usually I don't really put oil that much into it. I just let the Gelkid do the things because it's kind of it bonds with the paint very quickly, and usually at that stage it's ready to go out, and I'm just making a final little change on it. After you put a frame on it, sometimes you go, oh, that color just jumps at me. I want to push it back. That's all it usually is. So try not to do too much.
So if you would do those rocks, what color would you choose?
I would probably look at something, maybe it's kind of weird, but sometimes a phthalo green with me.
Really?
You would know it is so subtle. I mean, I'm barely putting any color in. I mean, but there's the red in here. What did that red? Well,
Right, and that's
what
why I
that
thought
will
you were
do is
gonna
just
say like burnt sienna or
that
something
was
like
right
that, but
down.
no.
You could do a burnt sienna, and I usually when I do glazing, I try to stay with the transparent colors. The
Okay.
cadmiums and stuff are not transparent, and they just kind of they look fine when you first put them on, but when they dry, they just go a little more opaque than when you put them on, and so it's just a little goofy to them. So transparency usually over lighter colors when you want to dull down the color or something like that, it works really well. Going when you got dark colors, phthalo green and alizarin are pretty much your go-tos for that stuff. So anyway, that's sort of it.
Will you bring that up close?
I'll give you
Yeah.
we'll do something sometime about it. Maybe
I'd
just
love to see that up close.
Yeah, a lot of
I'd love to
people
see
would.
you painting.
No, we're gonna have an in-person one again pretty soon, probably in July or something like that. We'll have a in-person painting workshop or something during the summer here when we got some time. Yes, summer classes are coming up. I mean, I think we got this class and one more class we got, and then we're summertime. So summer is going to be a little weird. Got some workshops here and there. I'm going to be moving around. So
You're a busy guy.
yeah. It's usually
awesome.
Summers are usually workshop time. So, but I still want you guys to keep painting and stuff. So we will have classes. I will do classes, but they're going to be like smaller sessions, probably just 4 classes in a package type thing. I was going to do a la carte, but when I do a la carte, no one signs up. And when no one signs up, I just, kind of feel like, why am I here? Mm-hmm. So that's why there are going to be probably packages of
summer is just such a busy time.
Yeah, summer is a very busy time. So, but
are you doing Tuscany?
Tuscany paintings.
Are you going to Tuscany?
Not this year. Next year I am. Next year I do have I do have one for next year. This year's I just couldn't get anybody to go. Tell you the truth, it would have been right now. I'd been going to Tuscany, but no one. Everybody wanted to go back to France. So France is full, but the Tuscany one, it was kind of a weird. I was working with a group there. They were nice and all, but they just didn't do any promotion at all. And my promotion didn't go very far either. So anyway, next year's is with a different group, and that one's already has people signing up for it. So that's much better. Anyway, that'll be fun. So yeah, last week's, this was a little weird just because of the lighting was kind of off on behind it, and yellow, like I was mentioning before, yellow in the shades, you're getting both are in the shade, and you only have is the difference between an edge of this building, and it was tough. It was tough, and I'm not even sure I got it. I think I'm going to end up probably going back and taking this yellow spot right here and brightening it up, and just go to change the lighting on it a little bit, because it's a little confusing. It's just too confusing for me. I just need a simpler shadow on this side, more light, direct light on that side would have worked a little bit better. But that was last week. Simple fixes, really pretty simple fix for me. I want to do a couple strokes there and be done. We'll put this away.
Will you bring that up close a minute, Jim?
You want to see it up close?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing, is when lighting and stuff, That's about it. You know, it gets to be a mess real quick. Right there. Because when you take the light off things, everything just grays out. But anyway, today we are moving on to the southwest of the U.S. to do some do a little palette knife week. We did some palette knife on Monday night. That was a lot of fun. Things I learned though, I'm gonna take, and that's why I was saying a little cheat. Things I learned from Monday night, I'm gonna pass along to you guys, and we're gonna get a little head start instead of going back to the beginning. We're gonna be able to shoot forward here and build on what I learned on Monday night, paint wise, with palette knife. And I painted a lot with a palette knife. I'm always using a palette knife. It always goes into my paintings, usually at the end, just to freshen them up, because that feel of the palette knife loosens things up again, keeps me from getting too tight. When I put a small brush in my hand, I get a little too tight. So when I do it with a little brush or a little knife, usually works out better for me. But to paint a whole painting in palette knife, it's a challenge. It really is. 1 second here. No, I can have that going. Okay, never mind. I was thinking, oh God, I got to get this recorded, and I think I have the recording on. I think I did. If not, you guys don't get a recording on this. We'll just have to play it by ear and act like we recorded it. Sorry. So palette knife, on Monday night we used pure palette knife. We didn't get to use any well, we used a brush to tone the canvas and to draw it in. We're gonna go a little bit farther and use it more, the brushes to block it in a little bit, but then come in with the paint on top, and then brush at the end to soften a couple edges. I think that'll be really probably a little bit better than forcing you to just do a palette knife. I think you can learn the same amount. Anyway, so this Southwest scene, this is by Arches, the Monument National Park, near there. So we will be trying this. This should be a lot of stuff going in. Let me pull it up. Oh, one other thing I did I sent you guys out on this one, a couple versions of it. I do a long skinny one, horizontal one you could do, or you could do this, a basic, the basic version of it, cropping with a normal panel. I don't think I painted with you guys. Monday night I had them buy long skinny panels once, and I wanted to make sure you guys you could see what the difference is. A lot of times it's easier to design a longer, skinnier panel or a vertical version of this. These are like 12 by 24s, or this is a 10 by 20. Basically, it's a 10 by 16, but I marked it at 10. Put a piece of tape here, so I'll just be painting in this section. Down here is just I'll just trim it with a mat knife, and that's all you have to do. Make it the way you want. You can just trim these things with a mat knife. So that's what I'll be doing on this one. I just wanted to show you guys that. I do have a 12 by 24. Huh?
Unless, of course, you're using a canvas, that would be kind of tricky.
Yeah, only if you're using a canvas by you can still do it. Then you can just have to take the canvas off, trim it, and you can glue it down to a board and be a panel. That's another way to do it. It's not that big a deal. I mean, it is there's more work involved, but sometimes, the reward, you can make a better painting just by trimming things a little bit. I do that all the time. Lots of
Jim,
trims.
then I would end up with 3x3 paintings, and that wouldn't be very interesting.
Well, if you're then you got to paint, then you got to charge by the inch, and then you can make your money. Very expensive inch paintings, call them. Here we go. Here, I'll pull both these guys up and we'll talk about them. Here's your regular one. This is just like a 12x16 version of it. And then this one, you can tell just the feeling, you get the whole feeling of it. And the design just is a little bit more unique than 12x16, which is, you just don't get sometimes as much enough, even in a 12x16 is still has a horizontal feel. It's not very squarish. But sometimes these guys just can stand out very well. I mean, that's why I like playing with them sometimes, just because they make it more unique to paint. Color paint. So design wise, you can see this. We got a little bit of a road here, going back here. It's not a road, it's a path. It's a hiking trail going through this area. I like this over here. I just thought, this is one of the things, somebody said they wanted to see trees, paint trees with a palette knife. There you go. Bushes, trees, rocks, I give you then the sunlight. We got some beautiful sunlight going on here, I think. And then you got the sky, clouds and sky. That's going to be a little tricky. That'll be tricky. I mean, the whole area, going with a palette knife, is going to be tricky. So to speed things up, we're going to bring in, we're going to do some of the light, some of the darks, and just brush it on. We're just going to go through the brush, but then all the light areas, big, light rock areas like this, boy, those are beautiful to put in with a knife. You can just see how just those areas right there could really benefit by using the use of a knife, as it comes down and stuff. You can just, that stuff will just spread just like that. So yeah, this is probably toughest part is probably this stripe, that stripe of red rock in that thing, in that rock there. It's just going to really be goofy and stuff. But yeah, this top stuff, you can make these squares. I mean, this is almost perfect for palette knife. That kind of little marks and stuff. And you can see it over here too. The same kind of things over in this area too, where you can shoot. You put the color in, you let it squish around, and then you put in the lines afterwards, and you pretty much can get that effect very easily. The tougher thing is subtleties with a knife. Trying to get a simple area like the sun here and mountains in the back, clouds on top, and then they're all pretty much feeling about the same value and same color. That's the kind of tough things, because you're always going to be working with hard edges, and that's why I was saying maybe we can bring in the brush and get some of this stuff done, because you can do this stuff. Everything can be done with a knife easily. I mean, but it just takes a lot of time, and getting this orange, green back here in the sky, sunset color, it's going to take a lot of work, and that would, so let's cut down the work and really concentrate on the usage of the knife, because when we do areas like these kind of trays and these kind of scratchings, and putting in these kind of little brush in here in bushes, that's what it's really great for. And if you guys really want to, if you do get the hankering just to do it in palette knife, please go ahead. You can do it in palette knife. I don't care. It's gonna be the same colors we're gonna be using. So it's just when you're doing things in palette knife, it's gonna take a lot more paint. That's the beauty of it. It does take a lot of paint. And when you have more paint, it's kind of easier to paint. You get more things to mush around and chances for nice subtleties of shapes and things going in there. You get dimension. You can get dimension into the paint itself. It's John Singer Sargent. Some of the paint colors in his paintings are like almost a 1/4 inch thick. I mean, some of the whites and things, they're just like gobbed on. That's why they just look so loose and gorgeous and stuff, is because of the thickness of the paint. And that's where I was thinking maybe that could work really good again back in here. We'll see. That's the thing,
So Jim,
Sandy, you got to try it. Yeah.
if you're using a regular 11 by 14 canvas, would you still use this view?
No, you could use that one. If you're not going to trim it, this would work. This is just a little longer. All you have to do is add touch of sky, add just a little bit down on the bottom, and you'll be the same thing. We can work on. We'll talk about it on this stuff though. This one. Yeah, I would say you just got to add stuff up, just a little bit of sky up here to make up for it, that distance there, and maybe just a little bit of stuff down here, but everything's right there for you. It's not like a big deal. Anyway, you don't want anybody to go down here, and you don't want anybody to be too much here. You want them to travel through this thing and get back into here. That being said, design wise, I just like the way the light, came in this area right in here. I just really like the pattern of light. And I thought that would be really great for a palette knife work. Design wise too was good. I thought, the road coming in, rewinding back in here was nice. You got little things going up here to take you back, and then you have the clouds over here pointing you back in, and you got this block up here that keeps you from going too far. You got a lot of little things here over on the sides here that keep you inside this painting. Let me get rid of that. Yeah, that keep you moving inside this area from light to light, just because you got a lot of little brush and things going on. Anything else? No, not too much. Dark wise, value wise, yeah, you look at this and you have some pretty dark colors coming down in here, probably around 8s and 9s in some of the brushes, difference between brush and brushes. Paint brushes, I'm talking about bushes, and brush kind of, this kind of brush. Sorry. That's about it though. I think color wise, yeah, down there in your heights and stuff. One of the things when you put in palette knife, because you are putting in more paint, if you got to kind of take into consideration, if you're putting in something that you want at a 3 value, pretty much you're going to have to probably mix the color at a 4, because the amount of paint the palette knife is going to put on is going to bring the level of light in your paintings up a little bit. So it's going to cause a lot of more contrast in your paints. So they're going to feel a little lighter in your lights. So you got to kind of think about that too. I mean, it's not a big thing. It's, you kind of get used to it, but if you don't use your palette knife a lot, you kind of don't really that you don't run into that very often. But yeah, whenever I put a highlight into somebody's a dog's eye or something like that, I have to make sure the paint's just duller than I think it should be, because it just jumps out as white, just because it's always catching a little bit more light than a flat piece of paint. So that's why it's just a touch brighter, just that thickness. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. You know, we're pretty good. You know, it's at the 1/3, 2/3 level. You know, good line. So, you know, yeah, this guy might be a little bit more, in this case, just a little bit more in the middle. But you have a lot of nice things going on in here. It's in the middle, but it's not in the middle, right? So if I was going to do this shape, you might just bring it over just a hair more. That would be about it. And that's no big deal. That's why I was kind of hedging my bet and just going with this one over here where it's off center already, and you got a lot of nice things going on. So, but it won't make a difference. The colors we're going to be painting are going to be the same. I'm just going to be, when we paint over on this side a little bit more, it's still the same colors that we're going to be using here and over here, just, you know, stretched out. It's not a big deal. And like I said, that's why I was thinking, we'll just go with a brush a little bit and should be fine. Any questions? Oh, you guys are a good group. See? You know, that Monday night guy, that Monday night crowd, we got to worry about them. Okay. Going over our palette. All right. Colors are going to be pretty much the same as always. Some titanium whiteout, cad yellow light, cad red light, cad orange, ochre, yellow ochre. This is red ochre, yellow red ochre. I don't know, gold ochre. Yeah, just a slightly different ochre. Just what I have. Oxide red light, alizarin crimson, cobalt blue hue, phthalo green, green, but it's on the blue shade. This is transparent oxide, or this could be burnt sienna. So those are your colors. Brushwork, got the big brush, got some synthetics, might bring in a bristle too. Not much, just a few brushes, nothing too small. Going to be pretty big stuff, just to get it blocked in, and then do the rest of the damage with my knives. I got a few knives here. I've been given knives a lot for Christmas and stuff like that, so I get quite a few different knives. I don't know how many of these guys, but I just wanted to show you a few. This is my normal one. This is like a spade bit. I like this one because it gives me, I can hold a lot of paint or just very little paint with this tip. I like that. And it gives me a pretty long, you know, line for straight edges, which is pretty good. This one's kind of just more of a unique one. You can see the edges on it a little bit. It has some ridges here. It's a fun little scrape tool if you need lines that are kind of going in here. You never know, you might. You got this one. This one's really big time. knife. A lot of I see, people who do palette knife work, and they usually palette knife work's not done very small. Usually it's on a bigger size. So that's where one of these guys, you can put in a lot of paint and take it off a little bit. A good one for that. Just a longer version of that one, but gives you a longer line. Sometimes you just need to put down a straight edge, straight line. Sometimes a little bit big, longer than that. So they're always good to have. Just different versions, little things. So, and then there's this one. This one is you need to, you need a tip that's a little bit bigger than that tip, that kind of thing. So you start collecting these knives just because of one or two things they can do different than the other ones. But most of our work we're probably going to be doing with that. I don't really, go crazy on my palette knives too much, but some of them are really kind of made for painting like that. Nothing new, nothing else new. They're all pretty much left. I have that. Then there's also the paint erase scraper, which at this point sometimes comes in really handy still, and it still like a palette knife. It does sort of a lot of the same exact things. It's just separate, takes paint off instead of putting it on, which is sometimes works. You never know. I use it all the time. You guys know that. All right, color-wise. Let me turn on my computer over here a little bit more. Wake it up. There we go. Yeah, most of the darks are right in here in the bottoms of these trees here. Everything else, you're going to see it a little bit warmer. The dark's a little warmer here, then have them cool off as they get back farther in the distance. We're just going to try to simplify things, keep things a little simpler, and not so we don't get caught up into too many details, so we can just get through this one. So I'm going to break it down into couple purples, some reds, warmer oranges, some greens, blue. That should be it. So first ones.
Jim,
yeah.
which one are you painting? That one is that's the 12x16 one, isn't it?
Yeah. I picked this one out just for colors. Color is color.
Okay.
Anything in this area will work on the other ones too. I mean, it's really the difference between and in the light and stuff. It's all runs this way towards this. You'll be fine. I'll be whatever color I'm using here is I'll be using on a bush over here on the farther out. It's not going to be a major something. I'm not making up any new colors for anything that's over here on the photo and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, colors are all. It's really simple. Wow, are you doing a long skinny one?
I don't know. I thought I had a long skinny canvas, but I just tried to find it and I can't, so I'm not sure. Not sure.
Okay. Well, I'm just taking canvas and taping off the bottom of it and going to paint above it, and I'll just trim it off later.
Yeah, mine might look miniature if I do that because I've only got small ones.
Well, the thing is, we're using palette knife, and sometimes you can really get a painting done quickly with a small palette knife.
Sprayer.
I saw that.
We'll
That's
see.
wonderful.
Okay, so here we go. We'll be mixing up. Meet people. There we go. So let's get into the darker purples and stuff. I'm going to probably keep it a little. One of the beauties of this scene in the Southwest are the colors of the purples they have in there. I mean, so there are some really red purples. There are some cooler purples in it. So we'll be mixing up those, but they're probably not going to come to we get adding white to the color. So let's do our dark colors first. I'm going to do a couple again. These guys are going to sound very familiar. Alizarin and phthalo green. See, I should probably just have all these guys made in the tubes, you know?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, just pull out the
Okay.
tube and say, here's your phthalo green alizarin mix. It's a value of 7. That's what I want you to use. You know, like,
Make our life
you know.
easier.
Yeah. Right. So that's gonna be when I add white to it and stuff. I'll get some nice cool blues, purples, and stuff out of this. I'm gonna do the same thing in blue. Same kind of thing. I'm kind of, you know, and also thinking about palette knife work. These pet piles probably should be just a little bit bigger. I mean, just think of yourself painting the painting is going to be like twice the size. So you're going to need twice the amount of paint. So this one's going to be on the alizarin side. That one will be on the blue side. Let me show, I'll pull them down. You guys can see. So I'm going to not move this one very much. This one I'll make a little bit more on the alizarin side. Yeah, you can start to see the purple start to show up, and that one stays a little bluer. These colors will be really, really nice in the farther back we go. Both these colors probably are going to end up in the clouds. Other colors I need a couple warmer purples. And of course, like I just said, piles have to be just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go with oxide red and the phthalo green. As you can see, this color is pretty much made for this painting. A lot of these trees and stuff can be this color. Just by adding the red to it into this very dark phthalo green, you know, you lighten it up, and it's pretty much taken me to the value I need.
Oxide green, Jim? Transparent or yeah,
no, it's oxide red light.
I don't have that one, so I have transparent or I have burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna. Or Venetian.
I out of Venetian too. I got to get more paint.
How can you be out of Venetian? How can you ever run out of Venetian? Anyway.
I know.
Yeah, when you use burnt umber, just add a little bit of probably
Red.
just a little probably cad red to it or something, just to lighten it up, because you're gonna get it. It'll probably be too green. So blue again, same thing. Here we use oxide red, or oxide red light. We're gonna do it with blue. And if this could be Venetian for you, that'd be great. It could be either one, or Terra Rosa. It's just a really warm red. And like I said, this is just one of those colors when you hit it with white at the end, it's just going to make just a beautiful gray that's probably going to get right into these areas here and into this area. Red, green, red grays, blue, you know, purple, you know. So we got purples. We're going to end up being purples, and we're going to end up being gray, warm grays, cool grays. And then hot yellows. So that's the painting right there, pretty much. That's going to take care of everything. One color I did not get. All right, one more color. Blue, just this one's going to be pretty simple. It's good for the sky. Those turquoise type skies, usually just blue is not going to do it by itself. You got to put in a little phthalo green into it. This is a good color too. You might, if I was doing just palette knife, this color, this probably would be a pretty big pile, because it would have to go all the way across this painting. Looking at that, just going a little bit more green, too much green. All right, that's really rich. Look at that blue. That's beautiful. So we got some beautiful colors going here. We're going to split these guys. I'm going to split the sky one a little bit more, because I'm not really going to be using the dark version of it very much. I mean, I'm just using it, saving it for makeup extra paint or something. It's not going to be really going to be anything else, but I'm going to split the piles, and then we're going to, the value of this painting, yeah, right around, I would say 7 would be the perfect one, but since we are going with palette knife, I'd say 8 colors value wise. We're going to add white to all these guys to a value of 8. So that's not going to be a whole lot of paint. A lot of white added to these paints. But then we'll lighten them up one more time, and then we'll mix up all the oranges. The oranges in this painting, siennas and things like that, yeah, they are just going to scream out of this painting. We're going to try and mix up a few different ones, so we have a lot to play with. Because you got a nice foreground reds, they're really popping in here, and then you got some yellows to oranges in the back. It's just always going to be a tough time to get yellows to stay in place, and oranges and stuff. Getting these two to sit in the right spot is worse than one of my dogs. Try to get one of my dogs to sit. So
Your dogs are great.
They love it. They're down here too. Okay, so like I said, number 8. So that's not going to be a lot of white. So I'm just not going to add too much white to these things, but enough to start to get the grays out of them. The purples will start to pop out at like an 8 value here. That's perfect. That was just the right amount of paint. Right amount of white added to it. When it comes to paint, though, like I said, when you're painting with a palette knife, like I said, you end up putting in a lot more paint, which also makes it easier to paint. So that's what I was thinking. That's when we'll come back with just the brush to push things around, clean up areas. That's where it'll come in really handy. So I'm trying to get everything I can off my knife in between these colors. That's going to be too much white. But you're going to start seeing these purples start to show up. You can see those in these guys already. You got your gray purples in the phthalo greens. Then you got the lizards here. That jet lizarin and blues that just have so much color in them, but they're on the cool side. But it's really nice to be able to place these colors. These colors will come, you know, just because of the richness of color, usually come forward in space. The alizarans and blues, even though I'm putting blue into it instead of green. Green usually comes before, visually comes before blue in the perspective color. But when you gray it out with a red like this, it kind of just drops back down. You lose the color, where these guys still have a lot of color. And so the color the concentration, that saturation of color, brings it forward. Okay, same thing here. These are the browns. These are going to be in this painting a lot in this area here. And into your nice things. You got a whole lot of greens in here. Just instead, basically, like I always say, you got green, put a little red in it to calm it down, or it doesn't get too jumpy on you. This is our purple. Some of our purple. I was thinking it's going to hit pretty much right in this road. This color. This is oxide red light with blue, with white, and that purple and blues. I really think was going to hit right in here, and it will. Just needs a little bit more white when we get there. But value-wise, it's pretty good. That's already thing. This is the blue side of it. Okay. Yes, a little bit too much white. Kind of blew it right away, but you can start to see how that, you know, that can work into that streak. Just too much white. I'm gonna have to steal that whole pile, so I'm gonna rebuild that pile when I get there. So I'm trying to get everything off my knife. This last one, really good clean paint. This is going to be different than these values here. This is going to go in for the sky. As you can see, as soon as I add white to it, it cools it off. So that phthalo green does not jump in here as much. Oh, but it does hit the cloud area over here very well. That color does. But as you can see, it needs to be more warm to be the turquoise area. But I like that really well for the cloud area. So that's just on the blue side. Let's take the rest of it, put it over here. And I'm going to add some more phthalo green to it. And it looks like a lot, doesn't it? Well, you know, the phthalo green is on the blue side. So should, you know, with good clean paint, clean white added to it. Thing is when I'm digging into this white with my knife all the time, you know, I'm always leaving a little residue of the colors in there, even if I'm wiping my knife off. So that's really pretty close. It's going to be just a little bit of both, probably. Just a little bit too much white. And that's it. That's good. Okay. Like I said, I might brush this one on.
Sorry, my colors look a little different than yours do, Jim. Like especially those last ones before the blue. Mine doesn't look. Yeah, mine doesn't look like that.
Mine too. Mine don't have any purple in it at all. That was really transparent red oxide.
Yeah, oxide red light. It wasn't transparent oxide. It was a transparent oxide red light.
Oh, okay, that's why
Terra
then.
Rosa.
Okay.
You have Terra Rosa.
Yeah, somewhere.
Terra Rosa would be the equivalent of this oxide red light. It's just a red warm. Yeah, you probably got this color. Let's see what this color does. Yeah, you got a lot warmer color here. That's blue and oxide
It's
red.
kind of brownie.
Yeah, it's very browny. Well, you're using burnt sienna though, aren't you?
Right. And
Yeah,
I did
that'll
put
do.
some red in it, but
That's always going to be a little bit of a problem. So when you get that, you're going to get a gray. You get a gray like that, don't you?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll never get purple out of that.
No, no, you're right.
So you got to have the red in it, the warmer or the cooler red part of it. Let's see what we can do here, though. If you got that color, these colors. If I put cad red in, yeah, it's going to turn it a warm.
that's more
Warm
what I got
gray.
right now.
Yeah. If I put a alizarin in, yeah, if you put a alizarin in, you'll be better. You can get
Okay, I'll try.
you can get a little bit closer. This one probably, if I would have put a alizarin in too, because it is very warm. It should have been alizarin. That's a cool color, though. Yeah, you can get it with alizarin. So, if you got transparent oxide, add alizarin to it, then add your blue to it, and you might even get a better color than this. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I can use that. And I can use both these. Maybe we just came up with a new color to add to the palette for everybody. I'm sure everybody's just
Beautiful.
going, oh, great, thanks. I just needed more. Anyway. Okay, this side of the painting over here, we're going to do all lights. We're going to do our oranges. Over here, greens. We got a lot of greens up here. So basically, it's going to be taking these greens, probably adding yellow or orange to them. That's all we're going to have to do. That'll be quick. But I want to have some fun here. These are really good, though. I do like these. They are nice, interesting yellow colors. So let's build some of these oranges and yellows down here. And you guys just hit upon what I was going to do is take this oxide red light, or not transparent oxide, and add yellow to it. And this becomes like a really burnt, just if you could, it's like using burnt sienna. But it just has a little bit more zing to it than burnt sienna. So when I do add white to these colors, they'll stand up a little bit better. So I want to have those two are too close to each other. So I'm gonna really push this one to the yellow side, which might not happen. Okay, there we go. A little bit more yellow. Maybe I'll make this one on the red side. Make sure I have something a step different. Cheat it. I'm going to cheat this one up a little bit. Okay, so transparent oxide red with yellow. 1, 2. Get everything off my knife. Other colors I'm going to use here. Definitely, you're going to find some really in these crevices. You're going to find some really strong reds. Dark reds in them. We have some of these guys here, but we need some just with a little more, a little more saturation and a little more red popping through. So I'm going to go with just a touch of phthalo green and just a lot of cad red. So really, I'm just going to try to take the edge off of the cad red a little bit. Just a little bit of green to knock it down. And I could use that in a few of these places. I think I just gonna too much green. Okay. Now,
What's the last one you just did?
this one here is just cad red and phthalo, just a scratch of phthalo green. This one's 2 scratches of phthalo green. That's what happens, you know, it's just sometimes phthalo green. But this color is one of those very rich colors. I have a few up here, but as you can tell, this color sinks. So phthalo green mixed with cad red, that could be like a finishing color for a lot of these areas. Another one, you guys, these colors, you guys have these mixes, you guys have heard these before, of cad orange and just a scratch of phthalo green. Just to takes the edge off the orange, but these are kind of more still going to be staying on the orange side, you know, really, you know, stay in these orange areas. And they are going to stay up closer, but they're going to be find their way in the back, but they're always usually going to be more of a scratch in the back or something that really has to have light on it, because it gets a lot of light back there. So those are good ones. Also, I'll take this one and do the same thing I did with the red. Just push it over here a little bit, add just a touch more green to it, because it will also be one of those ones I love to have in the tops of trees, an orange green kind of little color that really has a lot of sun in it. You know, so it's really dead from that, but it can be just a touch more green. All right, there we go. But it can get in here too. It's always nice to have those guys. Okay. The last one color I'll probably color it up. I'm going to start with ochre. Mine's a kind of a red ochre, so it'd be ochre with just a touch of red in it. But then I'm just going to cut it with some yellow. And as you can see that, it's almost that color. So I might have to cut it with more yellow. We'll see. I'm going to cut these guys with white. A few of these colors with white. Just to have them down here, because this will come in handy when you have to do all the rocks in the middle here. Just being able to go back and forth here easily. White, I'm going to probably, let's say about half. I'm looking for a value here, probably around 3s. So, but I'll be putting in with my knife, so maybe 4. Probably 4. That one's good. That will work. This one has more yellow in it, so it probably won't take quite as much white. But you can start to see how that gets in here a lot. That's a beautiful color. And that was, again, what was that color? That was, Oh, yeah, that's transparent oxide with yellow. This is red. And basically makes a little bit of phthalo green in it. Just a really nice dead pink in here. Yeah, see, that just goes in here so well. That's it. In this midsection, just cad red, just a scratch of phthalo green in it. You know, and it looks like that. This one's going to be interesting. This is phthalo green on the green side of that red. Oh, really? Wow. It's on the green side, but it's not, you know, really jumping in here. But it makes a nice gray purple. You can see some things in here. What I was thinking, if I went on the green side, I would have got that color back there. So I was thinking it was going to end up being. So I'll probably have to get it out of that. One of those guys. Cad orange. This is cad orange phthalo green with white. Really got the orange really coming through on this one. But if I can get it to the same value as these guys, I can get it in any of these places. And then having the right amount, enough paint to play with, you can really start to judge distance. You know, what's coming forward, what's receding in your colors. And a lot of times it can be just the colors around it. So sometimes you just need to swap out a orange for a pink and pink for an orange just to get things to switch. And then you got these grayer colors that will go back farther in this painting. Let's see what this happens here. This is ochre and cad yellow. You know, when you add white to them, they look, can be very similar to that, but as soon as you start adding white to it, you know, it's just a totally different looking color. Okay. Like I said, I wanted to have a few of these guys to be able to play with. So probably didn't need quite that many. And that's about it. I mean, yeah, all these greens here, I take these greens, you know, you're going to find, and add just a little bit of yellow to them. And I should be able to get a lot of, even the blues and purples, I think would be nice to have some greens made out of. I ran out of space, so I ran out of space. You guys have run out of space on this one. So I'm just going to take and make up a few. So those would be my greens I can use for some of the stuff. Maybe they got to go orangier and stuff like that. We'll figure it out. You know, definitely, I would take some of the sky, add just a little bit of yellow to it. Maybe steal from here because I don't need as much. But there's a couple little things down in here that have a lot more sky color. And we can always just see what we have here, what we need. But these greens are made with just yellow. I took a little bit of this green and added just a lot of sky to it. And you get a little bit more, you know, in this area here. It's just to add color. That's a good one to have. Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry. I was mentioning about this back area back in here, just a little thing. This is where I think I was going to get it. It's oxide red and phthalo green here. At a higher key color than that, it's going to drop it into that area. Just, and I don't need much of it, so I don't know why. Just mixing it up. You don't have to go back, and I can get it. All right, here we go. I'll mix it. I'll tell you what colors we have here. Should be fun. This is going to be an interesting one because of a lot of knife work. Up here at the beginning, we started again with phthalo green and alizarans. We brought them down to about 8. Next to it, we went alizarin and cobalt blue hue. We brought that down to about an 8. Then we went with phthalo green and oxide red light, or Terra Rosa, or Venetian, and you bring that down with white. And then this one we did blue and oxide red light, and we brought it down. Oops, see, my blue just is not standing up against that oxide red light. So that's the blue, and then that's coming down with white. So it's about 8, maybe a little bit brighter. Over here we have phthalo green and blue. So blue, phthalo green together, coming down. This is on the blue side. This is on the phthalo green side. This is the sky color. This is pretty much some cloud color right here. We brought those guys down. Also, I took some of these greens and brought them over here and added yellow to it. Here I took a little bit of this green I had left over, mixed it up with a little sky, because we need some kind of aqua blue one here yet too, for the big bottom of these little guys down here. Better get that in there too. But most of this stuff is done. Then we made the light that's going to hit the rocks. He needed some. We started off with oxide red, transparent oxide red, and some cad yellow for these two, and brought them down with some white. Over here, we went with cad red and a little bit of phthalo green, and this has a little more phthalo green in it. This has lots of cad red, just a little bit of phthalo green. And you bring them down, you get these beautiful kind of like pinks down in here. Then I did cad orange and phthalo green and brought them down. And this is on the really orange side. This is just a little bit of cad phthalo in it. Here I went with my ochre and yellow, cad yellows. Not a whole lot of difference. Brought them down with white. Probably could even take them a little bit brighter. They're so close. Just get you a really bright white one. It's all white. Just a little bit of yellow. And that should do it. More colors than we'll ever need, but hey, whatever. I have oxide red out. Looks like I'll be using oxide red light for my color, my thing. So that's what I'm using. A little bit left over, and be putting in safflower oil. I gotta grab one of it.
Tim, sorry.
Yeah.
I found I'm going to mask a canvas and do. Was it 10 by 16?
8 by 16.
8 by 16. That's small, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You want a
thank you.
horizontal? It's basically double the.
Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to do the one that you mix the colors for?
Here, I'll show you. I am going to do the long, skinny one.
Okay, I'll do that one then.
Yeah.
Mitigate the mess-ups that I could make.
Yeah. So from this line up,
Okay.
you guys can't even see it. I didn't. I used regular tape here, so you guys can't barely can tell the. I put something down there just to keep the paint from going down there. You know, I could also trim it, but this just helps me for a quick design. But I'll have this. I'm just going to be taking and adding on just a little bit on the sides. So that's up. Let me see anything else I need going here. All right. So like I said, I'll be drawing it in with kind of tone the canvas with oxide red light. Just gives it a nice pink. Give it a nice pink underneath, I'll probably take it a little easier in the sky with the color. This also helps get the other colors I have on my brush here out. But I can, So just if you want to cheat, like I said, just a little bit, we can leave marks. You can do some stuff. This color is going to be pretty good in here, So that's why I was saying we're just going to put in a few darks with our brush. Just don't tell Monday night about what we're doing. Okay, like up here, definitely just a thinner coat of red in the sky. Basically, I just want to be consistent, get rid of the white. A couple of colors, I forgot about the sky. That's that really light area. And I probably shouldn't have, but I did. But I think I find the colors pretty easy. So it's not just adding more color to a few spots. I think we'll be fine. I'm going to put this back up here. Like I said, one I'll be working off of here has a little bit more to the left or right over here. But this whole section will probably fall right into here. And I'll just be adding on this much to it from what I have. The heights and stuff is pretty much all going to be the same over in here. So 1/3 basically, 1/3, 2/3. That doesn't really change. This big mountain goes up I'm going to take it right to there. Or the rock here, it's just rocks really, much more than mountains, In there. I'm going to take it up a little bit. It goes up. Up here's another rock. Basically, these, big chunks of square rocks going down here. I'll get these angles coming in, coming down. And then, so you got the rocks up here. Then you have another rock area section here, which is separated by the road. Or I think it's a path, really. And then you got a couple of bushes. Bush over here, a couple of little bushes here, kind of triangle in. But down in here underneath, lower areas, you got some trees reaching out. Other things coming up and trees right in here. Color wise, not any change, really big change. They're all the same here. Trees here. Probably move this one back a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit better. And kind of a big chunk rock. So, greens, things in here. Okay. Right in here, there's a lot of different breakup of boulders with grass, with bushes and stuff. Try to lay that in and then get that little triangle of where this light is coming right in here. Get that to come through and cross over. But then this area here, it's just kind of a little pale area here. Move that over there. Okay, so I can get this section in. Then back in there's a small little purple mountain range back in here. Some trees coming on the edge. And cloud areas here. Some nice little sky openings up there in the clouds in that section. Let me put these darks in just a little bit darker, stronger, so I can see them right in here. And you guys can see them too. That'll be good, right? So, right into the thing, bush. Right above it, little orange, bigger bush right there, little bush coming on angles. Then you got your big, strong red orange rocks there, and one that kicks out here. Another tree here. Can't see that. Well, you can see the tree there. So. And then the tree down there, just a little more dark. Here, little sections. These, but the thing is, a lot of these colors are going to be the same-ish, you know, especially when you get the red, these red greens and stuff. Everything kind of going to end up being a little similar. And you're going to find that most find a lot of this stuff back in here just because it's going to end up mushing together. You can basically a warm to a cool, same value. Basically, it's going to be so close. So it's basically really simple. Just the opposite side of the colors on a lot of these things. You know, we make the reds. We make the phthalo green with the red. We make a on the red side, we make it on the green side. Really comes into play in something like this. Okay. So, like I said, I learned something on Monday night. And so I'm gonna just block it in with a big brush. Shh, shh, don't tell anybody. Gonna put in the sky, that kind of stuff, put in some of these main grays, purples in here on the road, that kind of stuff, maybe some of these stronger greens in here. But we're going to go back in with the knife and pretty much touch everything. But I want to get some of these softer areas in here. So I'm going to start off with the sky, in fact, which is usually I never do. But this is different. So I just want to make sure I have this color in here real quick. And this is just that phthalo green and blue coming in here. As you can see, probably I'm too dark. Why, that looks light too. I'm going to have to add some white to it. I'm going to add some green to it too. Or I thought that color was good. Yeah, it's a little strong. I'm going to make sure it's wiped out on my brush here a little bit. And come back in here a little bit lighter. And this just, keep this color in hand. Make sure you still have some left over at the end, or you can come back and do touch-ups. But I just want to get this section done really quick. Just to get going. It's one of those areas like if you use the knife, it could take you a while to do these big areas like this, and doesn't mean anything. Not going to really add to the pain too much. So just get the angle. Okay. And then I'm going to go with the other color. This is on the blue side of it. And I'm going to use it for this cloud bank right above it. It does need to go a little purplier, red purple at the bottom of this section. And probably I do need a little alizarin into this color, I think. But it just looked like it was going to work. I'm playing on the palette with it, so. I might use just a touch of, this is blue and alizarin at 8. Just so that means it just has blue and alizarin in it, and it's at 8, value 8. I'm going to work that back in to this side of it. The cooler side of these lights. Barely grabbing any paint. Trying not to. And then some blending it in just as I go here a little bit. Just to do that section. Like I said, I'm going a little bit longer, skinnier. So it's going off here. There is a little bit warmth at the bottom of it. Usually that would be just a cad red or something added to the color. So you got a cool red on one side of the clouds, and then we have it down here by the light in here. It'd be a warmer red mixed in with your blues. And this is one of those colors also I did not like mix up. I did not mix up a cad red and blue. I just used the sky cloud color here and added it to it. Also, yeah, did not mix up a light enough white, gray white. White too. You know, for this area. You might have to use sorry. Use the very last color we made up with ochre and yellow and white together. This thing. Or this little light area right here. Oh, see? Put in that blue. Now I get green, everything. So it's usually why I don't start with this. We don't really start with the sky too often. Anyway, let's go with that. All right. This is supposed to be that cloud, little area of right here, mountains. You guys can't try. It doesn't show up on here because it's right over here. Barely. It looks like these clouds here in the photo. So there's just a small little triangle clouds or of mountains back in here. Okay, enough of that. All right. I'm going to start off my basic colors, my phthalo green and alizarin. I'm just going to get the sky out of this thing now. Okay, get that back out. Now we'll go back to our very dark colors. I'm going to work down in here, this area here, and this front area, basically. Contrast. You need the contrast to make this work. So, and a lot of the contrast is right there underneath. You know, these guys, these bushes, and into the middle of them. So, this is gonna be. This is alizarin and phthalo green here, going into this center of this guy, and then into some of these other areas here, these other guys. Probably should go on the green side. There's some of these guys too, because you do see the reds in there, but a lot of the phthalo green side of this, right in here, at the bottom, in the middle of these brush things. So just toning that a little bit with phthalo, even though it's not going to be see, toning it. I'm not really painting it. All right. Reinforcing the drawing. Doesn't count. I'm going to keep going with that color just a little bit farther though, and start to get in some of these insides of some of these bushes back in here, these trees back in here, and then a few of them right in here. Here's that one, and then there's a bush right here. As you can tell, it's thin. This color, these colors are not going in like anywhere that like near they did up here. They just got a little bit more oil in them, so they're not going to be jumping out at you. Even here at this area right behind the rock here, there's a tree that's reaching up out of this canyon here area here, and you were just catching the top of the tree. So putting that in dark, and we will be able to use the knife to add a lot of color and details into these things. All right, that are my first two colors. The next ones, I'm gonna clean this out, are my alizarin and blue versions. This is the red version of that. And sometimes, and especially in these western, southwest things, you're going to find a lot of this red purple in these corner areas of things, or these dark little areas, you know, kind of more red purple as you are close, as it is closer. So like right above this rock into this tree here, I'm gonna put some reddish purple, and it's gonna be cool. This is a cooler red purple compared to some of the warmer ones. Anything made with the CADs and stuff. So you can see it's really on the purpley side. And the difference between this and the phthalo green and purple red, it's slightly different. This is, it acts a little different, but these guys can work so well together. So that's why I can just go in here and, create a lot of different values quickly, values and color of purples and stuff. Even they work so well together, you get a lot of different shades of things. Okay, so that's about it. Right about halfway up the painting here is where I'll be stopping using the purple section of it. And I'm going to go over to the blue side now for farther up things. When I get up to these mountains up here, the back sides of these all these trees up here are going to have a lot more red or blue in them. So I'm pushing that, in right now, and then there'll be some adjustments. I probably might even have to bring in some of this regular purple into some of these guys, but that's what I'm working with right now. Anything above halfway, shadow wise, is going to be on the really alizarin and blue side. Because when you put that yellow, orange, and stuff to it, against this color, they just like, it works so well. It's such good complementary colors. that's about it. You know, there's a little things up here. A lot of that stuff has to go in at the end. Uh, you know, if you're doing the long version, you know, like I just kind of was doing here, you might want to start some of the trees over back in here too, with the base of the trees on the edge here, right by the sky. You know, give that, make them a little blue purple. Okay. All right. Okay. That's about it for that. I mean, I do have some other. Okay, the next colors I'm going to go with are the oxide red and phthalo green mixes. Straight darks, pretty darks. I'm going to save some of these too because I think they're going to end up coming back into play when I do go to the knife. You know, but you're going to find like a lot of little, they're so far this color doesn't go too many places. It just starts to make a transition from the dark warm here, the dark cools in the bottom of the trees to the warmer sun. So you're going to see them probably next to a lot of these purples things. And what I'm trying not to do is just wipe out my purples. I really want purples to show. So when I do put these guys in, it's just going to be, you know, in little areas. Okay, that's not going to going to take me a long ways. Might go right in here though, the side of that mountain there. Just this one side. I know it's going to go a little redder, but I think I can. Be nice to have that come in here and then this come in there. Okay. All right. So that's the oxide, or transparent oxide with the blue or the green. Not a whole lot of places to really put it. It might go in a little heavier, but I want to do it with the knife. Now on the cooler side, when you start, I'm going to go the rest of the way here. This is the oxide red with blue. And you're going to find that a lot into these, this bottom area here. So goes up. It really, if you touch just touch your dark bottoms of the little brush here, and that's on the side here. You can just softly touch that with this color. We'll get a long ways. I'm gonna go get here. I'm gonna keep it dark too, going around the edge here, around this edge, and not that, and then just coming up a little bit. So I'm a dark corner of this painting and stuff, just to darker than these areas here. I'm going to come back with a knife and do a lot of this, a lot of interesting things here. I hope I have time for. And also, if you're doing it to just bring it into this outside edge, if you're doing the long version, you're going to find it coming in all the way, coming in from this edge here. I'm going to switch over to the blue side of it pretty quick here. For everything else I need to do when I get past this section here, the small section here. So it's like 1/3 of it, and then the second third, I'm going to go to the blue side of this color. Again, this color is just like the other ones. It's not a huge player in the painting because most of the painting is all midtones. So I'm just hitting a few spots here. Bring a couple trees down a little closer here. The edge. All right. Yeah, very, very spotty so far. Okay. So that's pretty much going to take me to my next row of colors. All the midtones. I'm only going to dig into a little bit of these midtones before I have to switch over to a knife, but I want to get some of this road in. I think I can get a lot of this road in. Mid-tone purples, just that little added white to the color, and just blues it out a little bit. And I am kind of trying to mimic, what a knife would do, but trying to speed things up a little bit because there's a lot going on in this painting. And what you're going to start seeing is a lot of rocks in this painting. A lot of rocks. And the idea of rocks, you don't want to paint every rock. We just want to paint the real important stuff of rocks. You don't want to get too carried away with one rock, and then meaning you're going to have to do that same thing to all these rocks. So, colors I'm using right now too are I'm using my grayed out oxide red and blue mixes right now with just a little bit white at 8. I just did most of that work there with the red side. Now I'm going to come back in and doing the little bit of this trail lines and the trail, the tire marks with that. Let me see. And if you made up your own oxide red light with transparent oxide red with alizarin mixed in, this is the colors you would be getting now. And wow, they go pretty good. They're really nailing some of these colors. Just wow, I didn't really mix that up for you guys. So it's one of those colors when you paint things. Remember this color with a little alizarin in it. And it just it's a totally different color than oxide red and blue. And alizarin really just adds a lot to it. Adds a different kind of shade of purple to it. Sorry, talking. That was my professor voice. I go to. I talk to in my head. So. Okay.
Now we gotta call you professor.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to call me professor now. Professors.
Professor Jim.
There we go. All right. There you go, Professor Jim. But this color is pretty cool. I kind of like it. And even the grayed out a little bit on the other side version of it has some really kind of neat effects in it. So and it might work out really well for some things. Oh, it didn't go too well up here, but got to try it out. What's that say? I wonder what happens with this. It's too dark. Too dark, but let me try it up top. Now, all right. So I got my basic darks in and starting to, trying to get this thing to kind of move like this, to recreate this thing, this arc and the way the light's coming down and shifting down. So, all right. I got to put the brush down. I'm going to have to go to the knife now. The rest I'll try to do with the knife. But that's what I was trying to do, is get a little bit, and I'll probably come back in the brush and soften up some edges. So even though we're going to be, working this a little bit tough with the knife, it'll be all right. So basically I use the dark, pretty much all the dark colors. Sky just, it's got to be clean anyway, so it's not like a big deal. I'm gonna work. What I'm gonna do is work basically on the tops of the trees. Start bringing in some of the light with the greens and things. But I'll be working first still through the second tier colors with just a little bit of white colors in them, and just seeing where some of these blue greens go first. And I see them right behind this bush here. I probably should even get them in this bush edge right in here. And that little bush here kind of is as goofy as it looks. It's one of the things that holds this whole painting down and makes everything go around it. So.
What color are you using, Jim?
I am using phthalo green and alizarin back into this guy. And then I was going to come back in with just that same color with just a little bit of yellow in it. Right here. Same thing, phthalo green. On the green side with just a cad yellow and a little bit of alizarin in it. And getting about 3/4 of this thing. This is probably what's going to help hold this painting down. So yeah, I should probably at least mark it with this first green of colors. There are going to be some warmer greens going in here, and just a little shift of things up here, lighter greens. But let's get that guy in here just to hold the painting down so we can start to build things behind it and forward around it. Because I'm going to start putting this other cooler green back in here. There's no separation, so it's hard for you guys to tell what I'm doing. But I wanted, so that one's going to come forward. These guys, anything back in here, it's not going to be this bright a green in it at all. Anything down back in here, all the greens are going to be a little more grayed out. But there are some cooler greens. Sorry, now we're going to come back in here. I want to get, like I was talking about when we mixed up the sky and everything else, putting in some cooler greens in here. So the alizarin and phthalo green and alizarin with just a little bit of white in it in the middle of these sections of green in here will be really nice. Will play well against some of these lighter things. And this is just my tip of my knife, just going to be going up and down, scratching this one in. It's not going to be like laying, I don't have to really lay in a lot of paint. I'm just going to be laying in the scratches, just kind of working the groundwork. I'm going to hit a couple lighter greens too here. Again, these little ones right here by this rock. I'll put that in for a good placement. A couple of lighter greens that pop up here and there. And, I'm going to build the light a little bit. I'm not going to take it a little bit at a time here. But I think really the building it just a little backwards like this. Can help keep the back simplified a little bit more. If I do work a little bit more on this front edge, maybe I can keep the back even simpler than what's going to have what it wants to do. Because this stuff's chaos back there. So if I can keep work this edge here, this light here, and that kind of thing, maybe I can get maybe I can steer in some of this light from this edge here. This is just that's cad red and orange, or phthalo green right here. I'm using right here for this that light. Not right. It's not perfect. It's a little bit on the probably on the orange side. This is on the red side, where little areas like this get here. That's pretty close to. That's pretty close. It should probably just needs a hair white into it. Just like this. I thought this was just a little green, little orange, so it could just go a little red, and it just a little shifts. I want to do the rocks. That's what I was trying to get to, really, because I did these are kind of the laid out of the bushes, and so if I can place these rocks on the edge here, going back, And I might have to go back to like even all the way to like alizarin and blue here to get the shadowing right on this rock. And then this rock here, yeah, just greens, cooler back to it. And then that orange. I'm going to go with red first, oxide red. No, this is a cad red, just a little bit of phthalo green in it. And going right over purple. Well, that one right here. Just that, catch that front edge. And I'll want to do the same. This one back here. This is where I put the other dark in. I'm gonna put them in just like this. A nice knife work. Cleanly, just pushing it down. It's perfect for serrated rocks like this. Yeah. Just leaving a little bit of dark, the shadows. Forces you to really keep those shadows and not play too much. Put it in and just move on. Except for here, yeah, of course I say that and I'm coming back in here and going, this needs to be just a touch more red, but maybe it doesn't. I just quit. But now I got that orange on here and stuff. I can start to see where that kind of pattern, see where the pattern, I can use it to, get back in here in between the bush and the tree here. Just start to let that light shoot me in here. Again, I'm going to mix up some more color because I just really did not make enough of this color. This is just cad red and just a little bit of phthalo green in it. Got plenty of the phthalo green part of it, I think. So I just could, if this could just have just a hair more white in it, I think it would work fabulous for that area here, just really close. And then just, so the thing of when you start using a knife, you just really to see what it can't do. What you kind of have to put things in and just kind of leave it. And you're not going to always get the perfect shape, but what we try to do is at least get the color in the right section. Make sure the color's right. I'm bringing this down a little bit. I see this pink coming down into this area here, this wash on the side here. So this is, again, just a little bit of cad red, mostly just a hair of phthalo green in it, and a little bit of white. And I'm sure if I keep adding white to it, I could get a lot of these other colors to play well. If you're doing the long version, you'll find that kind of color right here on the edge out here of this thing. Gotta probably go back in. No, I'm not. Just gonna be quiet and keep painting. It's a lot like pastels. If you ever did pastels, this is pretty much it. It's really quite the same. You only have a certain amount of colors you can use. The thing with this is just so many cool things you can do in here. I'm bringing this down into this tree. I'm going to start painting the trees pretty soon, really quick, because that's what's, I think, going to need to be done. to get those things, just to keep focusing at this painting in here. And just scratching these things so it is a lot like pastels. Okay. All right, so let's just stop there with the red. So it's kind of got me back here. It is going to lead me all the way back into here and then take me up a little bit. I'm going to put a little, see that, and I'm going to go, and I grab it again. I go, kind of, I think it could go right here in this edge of this guy right here. This is really reading a lot of goofier colors than what it is. Hopefully you guys have it on your screens. And you can see that this warmth in here, there's some real warmth in here in that photo and stuff. This kind of gets a block of red and stuff. It's not quite right. All right. Gonna start working on the tops of these trees right in that are coming out of this area and over here a little bit. And those are going to be put in with oxide red, phthalo green, and white midtones. Right here, this is on the red side. Mostly, a lot of times, it's going to be more on the red side than it is on the green side. The green just always ends and seems to jump a little. So right behind these rocks here, there's some of this green here. So, but in the middle of that green, brighter green, in the sections, you can always find a little more red. So that's what I'm finishing off on here. This one here. So this is on the red side. So this is that oxide red coming in. I might push that red over here a little bit. And you can see it just, if you way you work it, just like a pastel, you know, everything is going to have to be blocks, you know, blocks, smaller blocks as you go. And that's the way we're putting this stuff in. It's just a little bit of smaller block. And that's that tree. Okay, right next to it. There's a grayer tree, redder tree right here on the edge. That one there. The tops of these guys, not much. Sometimes, like this color, I'm still playing with the phthalo green, oxide red, and on the red side with a little bit of white. You know, over here it's going to be in the middle of the tree, maybe the tops of the tree. Over here it's going to be more in the body of the tree. Ooh, I pick up some beautiful colors there. Again, got that alizarin blue back here going into the bottom of these trees here. I definitely don't want to just wipe that out. I definitely want that to show through. So take it easy on, you know, if I had to lose one of these colors, you definitely would use, especially when you get back into here. So I'd lose the color I got right now. And just go with the blue, let the blue show through. Blue is always going to be much prettier color. Especially when you get back in here and just sings against these colors. So this is again, this is cobalt and alizarin with white in it. So I'm just bringing that back in to tell myself not to get too carried away with all the colors, because you can't put all the colors in here. Because if you do, you need this simplified. And if you don't simplify, find one place to some way to simplify it, it's gonna be a mess. So one of the easiest ways to simplify it is less color. That's why a lot of people, when they do go plein air painting, they just simplify things, is do less colors, and that's why you do limited palettes, things like that. So, like I said, that color I did, that oxide red and phthalo green with white in it, it worked good in here, but even though I can see it back in here, I don't want to put it back in here because I'd rather have the purple show through. It'll be prettier. You know me, I'm all about pretty. Okay. What some of these colors I do like. I'm going to go over here to the blues and the oxide reds with white now. Again, I did start with those guys right in here with the brush. But I'm going to come back and just reinforce a few spots with some color with the knife. So I can get, it's a lot like doing a pastel. I really never, it's funny, as many times as I've done this a few times, I really never really thought of it quite like that. And it really is, so much like a pastel. I did pastels for years, I tried to always, stay away from pastels after a while. It's not good for you. It gets in your lungs, and that stuff does not go away. Like having, coal miners' lungs. You get pastel dust in your lungs, and it doesn't go away. So it might be small and smaller amounts and things like that, but still, same thing. Okay, basically right now, just adding just a little sky to my oxide red and blue mixes with white. So these guys are just a little more, it's not quite as bright as the sky. Now it's just a little grayed out version of it. And you can start seeing that on some of these sides of these plants and these stuff here. Right in here. Just might be a little bit too bright yet, but go to the bluer side then. That's good. So you start to get a little bit more light. Like I said, the top of this rock back in here, this big rock in here, just has a little bit of sky reflecting into that edge. You're going to find that in a lot of this red rock in the sides here and into a few spots in the thing. It's just going to be a little bit of reflective sky color. Okay. Wait a second. I said I was going to do the tops of those trees, didn't I? Hey, what happened? Okay. Go back to that. Get back to that. Okay. I'm going to push. You can't see it, but these trees here can kind of go back, there's another set of trees right behind these trees. they kind of reach into that point too. I'm putting in this, that is alizarin and blue, and it's on the alizarin side. I'm using that as my main dark for here. Also, I'm going to push that for these guys right here. This bushes right here that turn the edge maybe of the streak that kind of comes around here and goes back in here. You can't see it because these trees here kind of get in the way, which is okay. All right, so I'm going to put the tops in, go back to some of these greens. I have some of this green here. Let's see if this works. This is oxide red and green with what, just a touch of white in it. Boy, it could be one of the darker greens in these things. It might be really good, you guys, for some of these side sections here where you want to be green, but not have a lot of space. It just kind of falls back into space here. One good spot. Okay, I just saw something. Just keep going. I kind of have this right behind this rock here. This green starts to come into this one little tree right in here. And it's like you can only also, when you're doing trees, you gotta wait for the background kind of like to come through too a little bit before you put the tops of the trees in, some of the final, little softening things. Always the way it is. Okay, that worked really well. I'm gonna put that green, keep working that green into here, and then into this purple here a little bit. This section now is just pretty much full. And the only thing that's really needed is the warmth, the light now to hit it. Okay. I'm gonna use that purple again though on any shadows. There's this one tree here that's going to be kind of orange and going to be pretty close to the middle of the painting. So I'm going to put in the purple for the shadow. I'm going to paint the shadow in and bottom of the tree with purple. See if I can bring some of that in here too a little bit. It'll be really good against some of these rocks. Okay. This looks like a mess. Okay, so we got to start to warm things up. I pretty much have gone through a lot of my blues and purples. I just need to I have some warmer ones that got to come back in here a little bit, but I want to get you guys going on the good stuff. So this is that green for this tree right here. And I'm going to leave the purple underneath it and just bring the tree out in front of it into the front of the shadow a little bit too. Just let it be a little bit. Probably need a touch red. There's another tree right here behind, right smaller one next to it. So you're going to be start putting in a little bit of these brighter greens here. Probably should put out a little more yellow. Just running low. Being to grab stuff. Again, let's see, where was I? Put it on this guy here. Look around and see where other green areas it can go. Knowing that this color is going to just mix and not be the same green. It's not going to go in at full strength. And you can probably can't even tell what I did here. It's leaving just little spaces for this color to go in. You know, these yellows or greens that go in. There's just little teeny spots here that this color is supposed to go in and live by itself without mixing. And then it's supposed to mix to the outsides and stuff. So it doesn't really, over here, it just goes in. A little more red. Use a little more orange in that color. My greens are just going to build as I go a little bit. Adding warms to them. That color could probably come over here a little bit too. It'll work its way into here. And the nice thing is, I toned my canvas, so a lot of this this color, it's gliding on a little bit better than it did Monday. Monday, it's just, I had a toned canvas, but it just didn't have any real paint underneath it, so it didn't glide. So now this is going a lot faster. Looking for a little bit of warmth, looking for these kind of orange greens and stuff going in here where I see them, and piece them in here. Definitely in this section here coming down. So I see yellow greens, but they're really orange greens. They're just cad orange and phthalo green, but not much. Like I said, they're going to end up being scratches at the end here. And all of a sudden, you can start to see it. Get to that one point, you can just all of a sudden the colors start to pop. That's why I looked at this and I go, oh man, this could be so cool. And then you got Molly, who's painting out there in Washington, 2 hours behind us. She goes, I'm not getting up at 7:30 in the morning for this. So a lot of this little stuff here. Well, you guys can't even see that stuff. I'll be painting that for a while. But this stuff here, I love these aqua greens into these yellow oranges. So that's what I'm working on right there. And that's a beautiful little section of the painting. And the knife, if I was painting this straight on anyway, definitely, this is what I'd end up doing, grabbing a knife for this section here anyway. Now I'm finally getting to my oranges, right? When I get to my oranges, the whole painting is opened up now. Everything is going to start making sense really quickly. The depth is going to come. And I could say that. There's just a few little things here, a lot of things I find sometimes a little scratch like that back and forth, can do more than a brush mark sometimes. All right. Yellows and greens are now on the table to use. Good to know. All my yellows and whites can now start to be used. You know, look for tips of rocks, really helpful to finally get these, you know, little teeny edges of the rock to come in right. Probably just a little too cool. Probably need a warmer section for the middle of this rock. And then to blend it, just put it in, just rub it in a little back and forth. You're just going to end up leaving marks, but that's what you're supposed to do. Just like a pastel. So now you can start to see the dimensions here starting to happen. I can see a few places already. I can see I kind of probably need to darken in. The beauty of a knife, again, is you can get that dark put back in, you know, very easily without playing with it too much. But if the more you play, the more mud you'll make. And that's just the way it is with pretty much everything. You know, I mean, you know, this one spot here could go a little darker. So just watch it. Definitely love them. Love them. Sorry. A little red right here at the bottom of this base of this guy. You know, that's what this knife is great for, is putting in these little teeny warm spots. All right. All right. Well, let's. Yellows are open. Yellows, purples, grays, stuff. We're going to have to get those all in this bottom section here, the top section here. You know, putting in these blue grays. So these blue grays, this is in fact oxide red, transparent oxide red, alizarin, phthalo green, and white. Or maybe it's blue. Did I use blue? Might have used blue. Might have used blue. Okay. Basically, I'm looking at the shadows. I'll be using this lighter grays and stuff, blues and purples, blue grays into these rocks. You know, sometimes you put a blue or a red in something, but when you get distance, it becomes the right color. Even though you think it's in your head, you go, that's yellow, that's a yellow rock. But you just put red, made it red, but it reads, the color reads as a, you know, yellow back from the distance. So a lot of sky going into this little section here. So it's going to be a little sky, little purple going into these colors. That's just to separate out these trees here at the bottom. That's the nice thing about fixing things with a knife. You just push that paint in and squish it, and it works. So all my highlights up here, all my shadows up in the mountaintops up here, when you get up here, cool blues and purple, light purples. Everything else is down here is darker purples. But values up here are going to just jump when I start putting in the yellow. I'm starting to put in these rocks. So I'm just going to run through my warmer unwhite colors with the rocks and see where I can go. I know I see it up here and this guy up here. And yeah, the tough thing is, you know, I already have paint up here. So running it right next to it and bringing it down, I'm always going to be making a little bit of goofiness to it. So this color here is just oxide, transparent oxide red, cad yellow. And it feels just like what a burnt umber would do with yellow too. But some reason for me, I think it's richer than the burnt umber. Or a burnt sienna, sorry. This feels richer than what a burnt sienna could do. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what I think. This is the other side, the more yellow side of that color. Trying to start building the face of this rock here with that more yellow in here. And the thing about it is keeping the shapes simple when you have to. Just triangles, squares, rectangles. You know, you don't have to get all into a lot of stuff. Try to let some of these shapes build themselves a little bit. I'm going to go through that and just look through. Like I said, I got all those beautiful purples in there. I'm just wiping them out. And that's why I put so many in here, because I know they're going to get wiped out. And, you know, send them to battle, and they just didn't make it. You know, tough thing. But we do have plenty more color. So this is oxide red, just going in here to oxide, transparent oxide red with yellow in it. Going in here, just catching all this top stuff, you know, in between a lot of these green marks and purple marks are made up here. The thing is, you can't get, it forces you to simplify shape. But that's okay, as long as you got the color is right, or really, really close. And that's what we did. We did spend the time on our color. So, you know, that's half the thing, is having that out of my head when I'm painting. So I'm not worried about color. All I have to worry about is drawing, design, you know, brush stroke. There's enough stuff to keep you thinking and occupied. Okay, so I'm starting to bring in those things. There's really warmth, because a lot of warmth. That light up there is really pure. Not getting shadows going through it or something like that. Whereas you get down lower and lower, it's going to cool off. So that does kind of go to these other pinks in here, but the same value, right? You put it right next to it. If you squint, you can't tell. I even put a mark in there. So it's just same value, just on a little bit of pink in it. This is oxide. This is blue, red. I mean, sorry, cad red, in phthalo green. Just mostly cad red, really. Hardly any phthalo green in it. Just grayed out this, you know, that color, just perfect. I mean, it's really going to be nice in here a lot of places. Going to help really just like right in here, just to separate all these trees out in the middle here. You know, always talk about sky holes and stuff, and then you use something like this, and it just goes in here and does the sky holes with you, and you didn't do anything. You just barely pushed it and did it. So we are right there, almost on time. Let me just put in a few things. I want to see what you guys did. Basically, I just got to run through a couple light yellows here. I want to put them through. These are all the cad oranges. This is like this cad orange. It's kind of a pale cad orange or phthalo green. on the cad orange side, just a little bit paler, and you know, and I see it kind of going on these tops of these rocks, where the cad yellow version of this thing, and that last few colors we have here, I kind of see that going into the middle of these rocks here. So I'm just going to quickly lay that out. I'm sorry. But here's the cad yellow version, the really strong yellows. And that's what I've been saving it for. These rocks and this one's right here, just above center. You know, just right into here. Catching light. Clean your palette, clean your knife in between. And then right underneath some of these areas here, just catching it. It's like that orange version of this right here. You know, it just seems like it's catching light compared to the yellow. So that's why I put it on up top. And then this catches the side, the face of the rock. And that's why it's warmer than the top and stuff. I might even go add just a touch more white to that. And then find those other little spots here. Just coming down here, there's a few on. Where's that trail up? Oh, I just wiped out the tree I liked. But yeah, it should be right here too. That's what I was looking for. I go, it should be right about here. That tree I like, and then bringing in the oranges from the outside over here, yellow oranges. Might even, like I said, so I say yellow, I might bring some yellow into it and bring them in right here. That strength, and then see where else I can use that color. That's why I was putting that color right there at the beginning. You know, and then you start to see it right here on these guys. Okay. You know, it's good. This color is going to go into here a little bit more. Just got to find a way right in here for these two colors to blend, from the cool to the orange to blend right in here. And I'm done. Not done, I mean, but really, it's all just little things about making it read. All right, I'll bring you in this time. I'm sorry about that. But you can start to see, do you see those purples up there against that oranges and greens or yellows? Definitely you want to leave that stuff. You want to keep that stuff in there because that just glows.
Beautiful.
And then you got the grayer ones down below. And then the green will hold it together. Sky needs a lot of work. But hey, you know, and also, don't ruin the paint. Don't lose the painting just because you know, it was started with a knife. You can anytime at the end just change it up and go back to the brush. It's fine. You know, make sure the paint, you know, fix the painting the way it is. I mean, way you can. So Cindy's up. We got Allison and Sarah today. So here's Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
I'm not used to using a knife, Jim, so you were very right about the paint. Like I ran out of paint like right away. So I kind of just used it as an exercise for the knife to see what, to fill it in.
Okay.
I just grabbed colors and filled it.
Ooh, you got the colors right. Yeah.
I got the colors maybe in a little different spot than you did, but I just was trying to get the hang of the knife, and it takes a lot of paint.
It does take a lot of paint.
I used up almost all my paint right away, and I'm like, oh, I better just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. That's where you need a big palette. The nice thing about the palette knife is what you got going here is I can see a few spots where you did put in some really good thick paint, in your oranger areas down below against some of the
Right.
greens and stuff. You can see now you got room to play with edges and shapes and change shapes and get those little nice beautiful subtleties of edges. And that will work out so cool. Yeah.
It's interesting. I found the palette knife interesting texture-wise. I mean, it's like icing a cake, sort of like it's interesting.
Isn't it? It really is. Sometimes you just need a gob of paint. Sometimes you need a gob of paint somewhere, and the knife is just such a beautiful little tool to get it in there and then just move it around a little bit. Okay, good things are happening here though, and a lot of it is, anything that feels dirty, I think is just a temperature thing. When it says if you look at something, you say, God, this feels just a little dirty in this color. It just should be cool. And that means it should be cool. So you got a few little spots going up in the middle of the painting where you have too much warm red in it. And it should be a cool red. So it should be a alizarin instead of the other one. So it should be a cool purple instead of a warm purple. And that's all it is. And that's all the changes. And then you go to the same thing. If it feels chalky, it means just the opposite. It should be a warmer red in your purple.
Okay.
And that's all it is, right? But yeah, so that's the little key areas right in the middle of the painting. And there you got a little bit too warm in your purples. So put a little more blue purple into it, or red purple, cool alizarin purples into that area. And that'll fix it. And then I think a lot of this is keep going. I think your greens and the tops of the trees and stuff will add a lot to this, and it's just going to fill in so quick. And you haven't even got to your yellows yet. Your strong rocks and colors, and I think that's going to help out a lot too.
Okay, I just needed to try to get it covered, as much as I could.
And that's the thing is, as soon as you got it covered, the rest is just adjustments, color adjustments and drawing adjustments. And the hardest thing is to get it covered with a knife. So that's why we cheated with the brush a little bit, and we still ran out of time. It does take a long time. Okay, let's go to Alice.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. It's in the bag. It's a new tool, a tool in your bag, right, Liz? Allison?
Yeah. Well, I'm. Yeah.
Ooh.
Behind.
Oh, I like that. Your colors are fabulous so far. Oh, I love the greens, the orange, the yellow. Yes, that's going to be so nice.
Okay, you've
I can
encouraged
see the
me to
design.
keep
I can
going.
see the design. It's so beautiful. It just, and your purple, the bottom of the painting is almost done already. You started working your greens up. I know exactly where you are, and this painting is just going to jump very, very soon, and I can see it coming. The design's gorgeous. I love the design. That's why I wanted to go with the long version of this instead of doing the squatty version. I thought there was just a little bit more here. And just one of the things is just on the top of way up the tops areas, that blue purple, alizarin and blue, just a touch of white. Yeah. Those really, that's your shadows. Keep it simple for that. That's going to be your shadows up there. Then you're going to have some grayer ones by the yellow rocks, the white, when they get really intense, lighted up rocks. God, that's going to be really nice. You better finish that. You better like this.
I've got tomorrow, so that's good.
Okay.
Obviously, I haven't put the clouds in the sky yet, but it's a nice color. I really like that color.
That's a good color, isn't it?
Yeah.
the clouds in the sky were, that was just adding just more blue to the color.
Mm,
But you nailed that color. You did nail the sky color.
that's
And
a great color.
yeah, and like I said, see what you can do with the knife, but then don't lose a painting over it. You know,
Okay.
if you have to go to a brush, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just
Okay.
that's a beautiful one to finish off. That's a really great piece.
Okay.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Let's see. We got Sarah coming up. Hi, Sarah.
Hey.
Did you finish it?
Oh.
You pretty close. Oh, yes.
Oh wow. Wow.
See? She's just a little bit farther than you, Allison.
Mm.
She's right to the yellow rock areas and stuff, and then it's just all downhill from there. I mean, you are right. That's fabulous.
Oh, thank
Wow. Did you had a lot of knife work, all right?
Yeah. Yes, but I was convinced it was a big mess until about like 5 minutes. So thank you.
I
Yeah.
tell you, yeah. All of a sudden, it just boom, it sets down. You go, oh, this is like doing a pastel. I'll just keep adding colors, and that's what it just takes over, and it just becomes so beautiful.
Mhm.
Your colors are amazing so far. Really good job on the colors. Just those greens against purples against reds and orange. It's just gorgeous. I mean, you can't really go wrong. And then, you can go wrong, but it's you just don't mess it up. Just not mess it up, but just take your time.
Mhm,
Put the
mhm.
things in. Everything now is just sit back, relax, and judge. And that's gorgeous. I really love that.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great
Wow.
sky too.
Isn't it? Yeah, just
Yeah.
simple sky.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot there, Sarah. God, when I looked at this morning and was putting this going, oh God, why did I pick this one again? But
Yeah,
I
I
knew
thought
there
that
was,
too.
you thought the same thing too. Go, why did you
We
pick?
all thought that. Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
I know, but it was like there's something with the color I really like, and the design I really like. I do like the horizontal version a lot better than the squared off version. But hey, I just want to make sure you guys had it.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
I'm sorry. But I knew the colors when you put them in with a certain flare of the knife, it's gonna probably just really could glow. And so, it just takes a while. Sometimes
It certainly does give a different effect than the brush. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's so thick. I guess that's why I ran out of paint right away, but it gives a different effect. I like it. I'd like to try a different one, something where I can follow you a little bit closer, because I ran out of paint right away where you were halfway through this. I'm like, oh crap, I'll just start sticking the other colors in then, because
that was another reason I kind of painted with the brush a little bit longer than I did before, because the brush doesn't need as much paint. It just swooshes it on a little bit. You get a little oil and you don't take as much. But then your knife just takes all the paint. All of a sudden that pile of paint's gone so quickly. So, but it can just smush it, and you just move that pile of that shape around, and that's so much fun. And so it really helps a lot, like with little trees and rocks. Definitely with rocks. I mean, you can use the same color, and brush it on, and then go over, just put it on with a knife, and you can get two colors of the same color just because of the amount of paint. So it's I always like it. Fun things to remember for later on.
It's not softer edges when you do the knife. The edges are softer, but they're also harder to control, because I got that stupid orange and everything in my sky about 3 times every time I did the rock, but
I know
it's hard to control, but there's nice soft blurrier edges.
I knew that as going when I was putting in that sky early, I was going, oh man, you know, I never put the sky in early. You always put it in last because you want to use it to clean up things and put things. But I just felt like today I want to get something going really quickly because I want a lot of oranges that are going to be judging against that sky, and I'd rather like to have that sky in now and then judge as I go. Okay, sort of worked. Anyway,
It was fun.
all right, yeah, fun.
Thank
Next
you.
week,
Thank you, Joe.
okay, next week's our last class, and I'll come up with something really good for you. I promise. No fingers
Sounds
crossed.
great. Go with you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah,
You
good
too,
week.
Cindy and Sarah.
Yes, you too.
Okay, finish them up and put them up on the site. Definitely love
Okay.
these.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Joe. Bye
Bye.
now.